All right, we are live with Jeremy Scchuh. What is up, brother?
Nothing, man. What's going on?
You're looking good nowadays, my dude.
Trying, man.
So we were just kind of hanging out here as people start to file in. Hopefully, we can at least get a handful of people in here. So maybe if people have questions, we can answer those. So I will certainly communicate anybody that has questions in the chat. If you're here on the replay crew, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I do have a question for you before we start getting going here. So just to kind of retrace how we all got connected. So your cousin commented on that first initial video we did with NASA, and he'll be here in a little bit. So what were your kind of like first thoughts when you saw that first initial video on my channel with the squirrel and all that?
Whoa. I wasn't even really aware of the whole YouTube channels and all that. Like, I obviously was aware of little, um, certain things, but not um the aspect that they would take. I guess
Yeah, what
notice of me. Like, it was like just surprise almost.
did you have any idea as to like I guess how popular kind of your because like people follow your cases pretty extensively.
Okay. No, no, I haven't. Somebody, one of the officers in the jail, kind of told me a little bit.
So like you're in jail and a CEO like pulls you aside and is like, "Hey, you're YouTube famous."
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. They kind of said that they covered all the Simpson stuff.
Yeah, so he actually, we're gonna watch some stuff, so we'll look at some clips of you and Simpson. But it seemed like you and him had kind of like a history and kind of a cool banter. You've dealt with him pretty extensively.
Um, yes and no. Um, Back and forth. Like he was one of the judges that I dealt with in juvenile stuff. I also had traffic cases up in front of him. So yeah, over the years, kind of I guess back and forth. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna take a look at some of those, so we'll see a little bit of you and Simpson. I mean, you've basically been through the ringer. It's like a a roll call of a who's who of famous YouTube judges.
Nope, I don't got your phone, dude. Yeah. Yep. Simpson,
So
he's always been a fair, good man. Um, Sometimes kind of hard, but
yeah, did you have any dealings with Simpson, like beyond what we saw in the hearings? Like you've been kind of in his courtroom quite a bit. Did you get a chance to talk to him at all, like off record?
um, there was how let me see. There was a couple times where I've seen him, but it was never really no anything like what like watching him walk around the courthouse or whatever.
Yeah.
No, I've never really talked to him
So when you say you've seen him, like you just kind of seen him walking out and about around your town or whatever, is that what you mean?
around the courthouse.
Oh, okay, I got you, I got you. And he's
Oh, that's the judge.
oh, okay.
Kind of one of them things.
Oh, okay. And so you didn't even get it like really talk to him, whatever. Just like, oh, there he is.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got you.
One of our first meetings actually wasn't very good. He had me sitting in the courtroom for a traffic case. It was like 2000, 2001, 2002, and like my case was scheduled at 8 o'clock in the morning, which is kind of like the first couple cases. But yet at 4 o'clock, he heard the case and said, "Oh, well, the witnesses ain't here. We have to adjourn this." So I just sat there for 8 hours, and I was like, that's bullshit. You want to tell me what? I said, I've sat here all day for a traffic case, and now you're telling me we're adjourning it. I said, that's bullshit. Mr. Schuh, you want to tell me what to do in my courtroom? I was like, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you that's bullshit.
Yeah, you're definitely not afraid to speak your mind, and that's going to bring me to our first clip here. Let me let me cue this up. It's the infamous table flipping segment. So let's just take a look at this here, and then we'll ask for your commentary here after this. So let's watch.
Sir.
There you are, live and so, sorry, before we dive into this, what's the context of this hearing? Because you're in a wheelchair here, and it looks like you're in hospital scrubs.
Yes, the context was I have neurological issues. Like my spine is fused.
Yeah.
So even like right now, my hands and feet are like numb. It causes nerve issues in my spine, my back,
Okay.
um, and it tends to lead me to seizures. When that happens, like one of my sides go numb all the time.
So, do you remember 4 years ago what the charges were, though? Like when they were actually bringing this all on you?
Oh, it was home invasion. Home invasion
Oh,
case. Yes.
okay. What all happened with that? Because the hearing today is, I think, in relation to bond.
Um, basically, it was one of them. Like I don't know. I think that was the time I ended up getting. Yes, I got 2.5 years in the county jail.
Dang, man, that sucks. That's a long time.
Yeah. Yep. It was. I did a year or a year and a half fighting these cases, and then like they gave me a consecutive year simply because I got caught with my brother's ID. Like,
Dang.
yeah, and he gave it to me. He gave it to me to go into the club, and yeah, ended up getting
Okay.
caught. I caught a new charge for that.
Oh, so like what do they call that when you're trying to use someone else's ID? There's a term for that, right?
Yeah, it was. I think the charge was identity theft.
There we go. Yep, that's it. Okay, and that was on top of the home invasion stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, let's watch this, and then I'll follow up with some questions.
I don't think I have anything else, Your Honor. I would just restate my previous request that I be allowed to withdraw from the case. Mr. Schchuh and I have basically no communication. He prepares his own motions. He has asked me to file them. Sometimes I have, sometimes I have not. But generally speaking, Mr. Schchuh has not spoken to me, and I have not spoken to him. I have.
So this is different than what we're kind of used to seeing with you. Typically, you're upset because your lawyers aren't coming to talk to you, but it kind of sounds like he's saying the opposite. So you refuse to speak to this gentleman?
What, Mr. White?
Yeah, whomever your lawyer is at this point.
No, I never. I At that time I never refused to speak to him. He
Okay.
was, yeah. Um, when I did speak to him, he didn't want to. It was like he didn't want to hear me. So we got to a point where there was really. I told him I would do all the paperwork.
So when you say that though, when he didn't want to hear you, like he didn't want to pursue what you wanted to with your case, is that kind of what you mean?
No, he like I was giving him relevant facts, and he was like he was dismissing them.
Right. Well, maybe because they didn't have as much like legal bearing as maybe you thought. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying one or the other, but
No.
huh. So yeah, I just that's strange. Why would he? Okay. All right. Well, let's keep on with this. That's odd.
As Mr. Schchuh, I think, will confirm, there have been times I've gone to the jail and seen him, and times I've gone to the jail and he's declined to see me. We made a referral to the forensic center for an evaluation, and he declined to go to the forensic center. He's had a series of strokes. I mean, he's in a wheelchair. I don't know what his physical health is, but I know that having represented him back in 2013, I know that he's in a situation where he's maybe not as strong as he used to be. And so I would just ask Your Honor to consider allowing me to withdraw so that he can get an attorney that he can work with.
I previously ruled on your motion to withdraw, and nothing has changed in interim, so I'll stand by that ruling.
I'd like to represent myself then, Your Honor.
Well, I would strongly urge you not to do that, but that's your right to do so. If you want to do that, I suppose you can do that. But again, I think that would be foolish on your part. Mr. White's been a criminal defense attorney for as long as I can remember.
That's your opinion. I don't buy your opinion.
That's fine enough by my opinion, but he is a lawyer, and you're not.
Okay, man. I'm sorry, but I gotta push back to you a little bit here. Yeah, like, you understand that, like, the judge is the one who is ultimately making decisions about all this stuff, right? So, like, don't you think it's probably not the best idea to, like, because this is a pretty common theme where you kind of like mouth off to them. Is it just because like your emotions get the best of you, or
No, not really.
you just don't care?
No, I definitely care. Yeah, I guess is impulse. Maybe like, I don't know. Trying to speak the facts without really having the filter to hold them in.
Yeah. Because I mean, you get my point, right? Like, sometimes you come in here and it seems like you're making like sound and coherent logic, but like at the end of the day, you can make as factual and convincing an argument as you can. But if the judge fucking hates you, well,
Yeah.
you know, what does it matter? you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir, I do, and I agree.
So you just feel like mouthing off and you kind of can't stop yourself, kind of is what you're saying.
No, not necessarily. It's just
So
like during that matter right there. Like I said, I was being done wrong. I felt I was being done wrong, and it was like there was nothing else I could do rather than say
yeah,
what
so and Nasan's joining us. What's up, man?
Hey,
So we got Jeremy here. We're watching back actually I'd say this is his most viral moment on YouTube where he flips over the table and you've just kind of mouthed off to the judge here. Let's just play this back so Nasan can have context of what we're talking about here. Can you see,
hello.
Nasan?
I can see. I haven't seen this clip before.
Okay. Nasan, by the way, this is Jeremy Scchuh. This is
Nice.
Nasan.
Nice to meet you.
All right, so we'll play this and then I want to talk more about what you're talking about, Jeremy.
On your part, Mr. White's been a criminal defense attorney for as long as I can remember.
That's your opinion. I don't buy your opinion.
That's fine. You don't have to buy my opinion, but he is a lawyer and you're not.
I'm a better lawyer than you.
That's your opinion as well.
Obviously, the U.S. District Court ruled with me.
So, well, if you want to proceed and represent yourself, we can do that. I'll appoint Mr. White as standby counsel. You can confer with him as you need to during the course of the trial. Jury trial will be the 21st of January at 8:30.
I need time to go through pretrial motions.
January 30th, 21 at 8:30. Mr.
I haven't
White,
had no time to go through pretrial motions. What the you talking about, dude?
the case has been pending for quite a while. Mr.
Oh, we've
White has
lost
been
him. I can't wait to get him back
represented
in
for quite a
here so I can hear about
So-
this.
Mr. White hasn't filed nothing.
Sorry.
He just asked to withdraw 2 different times. You keep denying it.
Well, that's the way it is, sir. So we'll see you on the 21st for jury trial.
So that's incredible, by the way. You have like massive balls. I would never do anything like that. First quick question right off the rip. Are you burying your feet in so they can't roll you? Is that what you're doing right here?
No,
Oh, okay. So why are they saying lift your feet up?
because I said, my one side, and I was caught in the wheelchair. I have no idea why they're saying.
Oh, okay. You were caught into it. Okay, I got you. I hope all the tables were safe in the making of this. Yeah, me too. So you said that you felt like you had been done wrong and that this wasn't fair. Can you elaborate a little bit as to what exactly you mean by that? Because that
I
seemed
felt
pretty straight. Go ahead.
I felt like he was being vindictive on his part, just basically not really hearing anything I had to say simply because of our past issues and lawsuits that was filed. And it was like, I don't know, at that point, the impulse it kind of take control, and I got angry. Um, I don't know. It wasn't my proudest moment.
Yeah, no, and that's fair. You know what I mean? I don't think any of us um would love our our lowest moments being dragged in front of us and us to be like, so explain yourself. And that's certainly not my intent here. But just to kind of get your mindset behind all this, I think would definitely be interesting to say the least. Um,
Yeah.
so your lawyer was saying that um, you wouldn't speak to him, and you're saying that's not true.
No, that's not true. There was times where he would come, and because of the fact that they didn't promptly come and get me, he would leave and then say he came and talked.
Okay.
But yet I wasn't called out. I wasn't seen. There was other times where when we talked, it was like he wasn't trying to hear anything I had to say simply because he was appointed.
Okay. You get my point though, as far as like I guess a little bit of the agency does kind of fall back upon you where and I again I'm not trying to like press this on you, but I guess what I'm trying to say is like you know that like flipping a table over and saying to the judge that you're a better lawyer than him like doesn't serve your case very swiftly. You get my point?
Yes, I understand. And like I said, when I went in there was no intent to do that. It was uh, afterwards. I was sorry about it and tried to move on from it.
So did you end up getting those? You said those were home invasion charges. Did you end up getting convicted of that?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. And that was yeah, well, right. You said you did 2.5 years. That's right. Okay. All right. Did you actually end up defending yourself in that?
Yes, actually, the ultimate outcome was when my attorney started allowing me to file my own motions and see that the facts were relevant. That's when it started going favorably.
Okay.
Other
So
than that, they wasn't really trying. They wasn't really trying to hear me.
yeah. So basically, when you and your lawyer kind of got on the same page about what your ideas were for the case, that's when things started to go a little bit better. But you did ultimately end up getting convicted regardless.
Yeah.
Do you think that judge held the table flipping against you?
Um, I would. I don't think so because at
You'd
the
like
end,
to hope not, at least.
towards the end, it was like when we spoke. Um, I apologized and basically said the same thing I said to you. Was it wasn't my proudest moment. I'm not happy for it, and I wish it was different.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. There's the table flipping incident. Let's pull up the most viral clip, which is from that old Squishy Gardner channel, and that's in relation to the domestic violence charges. Now, this is the video that we covered on my channel, Nelson, the video that we did commentary on. So just to play catch up a little bit, can you tell us about the initial argument with your girlfriend that led to you getting arrested, and then ultimately the bond violations that bring us to the hearing we're about to watch?
The initial argument was me and her was within her house. We were speaking about I don't remember what it was, and we both started, I guess, speaking loudly. the cops got called. She was questioned, told the police officers, I guess outside of my presence, which I didn't even know until I got the police report, that it was a verbal argument. Nothing happened. I was still arrested.
So if it's just you and your girlfriend, who called the cops? You think, like the neighbors?
I honestly don't know who called the cops, but
Okay. All right. So yeah, just basically you and your girlfriend are fighting, and somebody calls the police. I guess my question would be, how did that lead to you getting arrested?
not fighting. We was I guess arguing.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I wasn't trying to ensue anything physical.
Like I said, it was a verbal disagreement. So, I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe a neighbor. I don't know if my understanding was one of the kids was in the bedroom. Maybe it was one of them.
Well, no. See, well, my question is though, you wouldn't get arrested for just arguing with your girlfriend. So, what were the allegations from the state?
The allegations was domestic violence. However, there was no violence. So it didn't, and I was within her house. They didn't really have the reason. I guess probably is the easiest way to phrase that.
Okay, so somebody who called the police said that there was actual physical violence going on.
No, I don't know what the actual 911 state says. So
Well, you dealt with this case pretty extensively. What was the evidence against you?
none. Just the officer saying that something happened, despite what Miss Uten was saying. So, I agree with what you said. They kind of just basically disregarded her and whatever she was saying, and did their own little thing.
I mean, there had to have been some form of a probable cause, and I don't mean to push back too hard on this, but I do think that, so you dealt with the case and you've seen all the files. Like, what were the state's version of these events? Like, did they say they saw a bruise on her? Did your girlfriend say that she had been hit? Like, and again, I'm not saying these things are true. I'm just for the sake of telling the story correctly, what was it you were up against with these charges?
No, I don't believe so. Like I said, she just simply said it was a verbal argument. So I guess that's really what they had to go on.
Yeah, that's not making sense to me, because they wouldn't arrest you if there's just an argument. There had to be some.
Neither. Charges were dismissed. It didn't make sense to me neither.
Okay. All right. Well, let's check out a little bit of this. I believe we're going to start off with Magistrate Fink. So this is right after you get taken in, right? We see this clip here. I'll just cue it up to when you're brought in. So this is actually, wait a minute now. This is after, right? So you've already been arrested for the domestic violence, and you've been let out on bond, and you violated that bond, right?
Yes. All right. So they said I violated it. Me and Miss Uten was at a party, and the cops got called and arrested me for a bond violation.
Yeah, because you weren't supposed to be around her.
No, we wasn't supposed to be at her address. It had nothing to do with being around her. It had to do with her home.
Well, there was a protective order in place. You weren't supposed to be around her.
The protective order specifically stated her address. So no. It said stay away from 5721 or whatever.
Okay. All right. Well, let's watch some of this, and I have some more questions. So.
Hello, what's your name?
JEREMY SCHUH.
Any change to your contact information, Mr. Schuh?
Contact information would be my mother.
Okay. And is it okay to use that in the phone number for texting and calling?
Yes, it is.
So,
That's my current address.
Okay.
I'm in the process of moving, but yeah, that's my current address.
okay, this is State of Michigan versus Jeremy Scchuh, 2240180. Your office was previously appointed on this matter. Mr. Hawthorne, you may proceed when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. Calvin Hawthorne, Public Defender Fellow, appearing on behalf of Mr. Scchuh. Your Honor, we are under the impression that this hearing is about a bond violation or a condition violation.
Yes.
All right. Well, Mr. Scchuh informs me, that he was not anywhere near the alleged address where he's supposed to stay away from, and that he's had no contact with that individual as well.
Go ahead, Mr. Dovey.
Your Honor, the police report, Washington County Sheriff's report from 6/18 of 2022 indicates he was arrested hiding in the bushes across the street.
Yeah. The police report states that at 5731 Dexter Pinckney Road, the caller reported that someone had walked through their backyard and hunkered down in their weeds. They don't know what he's doing. They believe he came from next door. They recognize.
Okay. Jeremy, you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do you eventually get tipped off that the police are coming, and that's how they kind of find you, like, in the bushes, more or less?
No, sir.
So what were you doing in the bushes?
I walked away from the party to go to the bathroom.
So you talk about this party in these hearings. This is the party you left your flip flops at.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense what you're saying right now.
I understand your opinion. I'm sorry that don't align with the facts.
Okay. All right.
So were you in the bushes going pee? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh,
But this isn't even during the party. This is like way later.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
Recognize the subject. He had done it before, white male in his 30s. The police approached the location where the subject was last seen in the woods. A white male was observed. I asked Jeremy Scchuh what he was doing. He told me he was just sitting. I questioned him about sitting in someone's weeds. He told me he was just sitting. He had just come from his friend's house. Okay, so the address that you're not supposed to be at, Mr. Scchuh, is
57, I believe, 57 something.
5721. You were found at 5731. And you're not supposed to have contact with somebody named Donna Eaton.
Did not.
Yeah.
That'd
So
be-
okay. Yeah. So there was a protective order in place at this time. So, Jeremy, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm
Okay.
here.
So you were with her at the party, you said?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Gotcha. So you were with her, and you were also within, like, where you weren't supposed to be, which led to the bond violation from the initial domestic abuse charges.
No, there was like, I don't understand why you keep trying to go back and say, like, you're trying to redo what was already done.
How do you
That's not-
mean?
It's like you're trying to give the prosecutor a defense. I don't understand it.
I'm not trying to give anybody a defense. I'm trying to clarify what's going on here.
There's no need to clarify anything of what happened. I don't like what happened is done. Other than commentary.
Okay. You don't want to talk about this. Is kind of what you're saying.
I never said that. I
Okay.
said there's no need to clarify anything of the facts of what occurred. Why clarify it?
Well, I mean, I've always been.
Rather than just like, I don't know. It seems very one-sided with you.
I don't mean to portray it that way. I'm very curious as to what's going on behind the scenes here. But believe me, I'm not trying to accuse you of anything for sure. So that's certainly not my intent. But yeah, I mean, I definitely want to know what was going on from your perspective here. So I guess in me trying to glean some information, maybe it's coming across like I'm trying to I guess call you up, but that's really not what I'm trying to do. I'm just really trying to get your side of this. You know what I mean? Like what was going on when the bond violation occurred. And I guess maybe some of that I was maybe confused with what you were saying. So I'm trying to piece those parts together and they're not really connecting, I guess.
So this is, I guess, this is my understanding of what you're saying is that the bond or the restriction you had was strictly to this girl's address,
Yes.
but you were all hanging out with the same circle of friends anyway, so you're going to the same parties, and obviously the parties were somewhat close to the address that you weren't supposed to go to, and you were partying there, and you left and you went and peed in the bushes, and you didn't realize that those bushes were right next to the address you weren't supposed to be.
No,
My-
I agree with what you said about the parties and the same circle of friends. The intent basically, I'll just say this: we was hanging out at the parties, me and Donna. When the cops came, Donna went back home. So that's pretty much the bottom line of that.
Okay.
Me trying to not really get either of us in trouble. I said that I was peeing in the bushes.
Okay.
But the bushes were like a unit away from her place, right?
No, the bushes were like way behind her residence. It was
Okay.
like there was another subdivision in the back. That's it was like another size. It was like her house, and then behind it was a subdivision.
Yeah, because they even admit here in a little bit that it technically wasn't a violation, but you were like right up. Like we'll even hear Fink say in a second when you constantly push. Like I remember this moment where she says that. So
Yeah, that's kind of like the whole back to what Conlon said about the whole pigpen concept.
Yeah. And I think the other guy he refers to as a velociraptor, constantly testing the limits of what you're able to do with your tether. But honestly, that almost provides evidence of the fact that you didn't violate. You know what I mean? Like if you're testing the limits, but you're still within it, isn't that just admitting that you didn't actually violate anything? Like
100%. That's kind of where was my feeling of that. It was like, I understand it's like you shouldn't have authority to have to feel that they have to flex their muscle.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, you got the whole like somebody flexing their muscle on you, and you're just a little guy.
It does feel like kind of a reach where they're basically admitting that you weren't at the location, and as much as I did.
But we're gonna show you how tough we are and fuck you over anyway.
Well, let's fast forward here a little bit too. So we have the initial reason as to why you get into jail, and basically that's what the rest of this hearing is. It's like getting you locked up and then just setting a basic bond. And then we get the follow-up hearing for where I believe you're trying to get your bond either dropped or lowered. But let's take a look at this hearing because this is interesting.
Go ahead, Mr. Schuh.
I would honestly like to have a reading of the formal complaint
Sure.
for the record, please.
The complaint in this matter states that on or about June 23rd, 2022, at 2201 Hogback Road in Pittsfield Township, Washtenaw County, Michigan, defendant is accused of bribing, intimidating, or interfering with witnesses, giving, offering to give, or promising a relationship to a person in order to influence the person's testimony, or to prevent the person from testifying in an official proceeding. This is a felony with a maximum of 4 years and/or $5,000.
Since I have not reviewed the complaint and have not had the ability to review the complaint, can you tell me who the alleged arresting officer and/or complaining witnesses is?
The complaining witness is Officer Thomas Robb of the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Department.
Okay.
I took testimony today from Sinks. This doesn't have Sinks. Detective Thomas Sinks. His testimony to me was that 2 phone calls were made to Miss Donna, I think you say her last name, Uton. And that in those 2 phone calls, you were instructing her about what to say when she came to court.
Okay, that's I understand what the testimony is, ma'am. There's no validity to that, but it is what it is. I understand that's not what today is for.
Someone listens to the recordings.
Yes, I understand. I completely understand.
Okay, and you're not supposed to talk to her at all about anything.
Okay.
You know that already. I mean, we just saw each other.
I completely understand. I'll say this: I reserve my First Amendment right to freedom of association and my 14th Amendment substantive due process right to marry and/or have a relationship with whoever I choose.
Okay. Let's pause. Jeremy. Come on, man. What? Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Your First Amendment right to what?
Freedom of association.
So I'm just trying to understand your position. So you're saying that your First Amendment right to associate with your girlfriend somehow supersedes like a protective order?
Yes, I would think so. One that was never verified nor asked for. That was just automatic by Washtenaw County policy.
Okay, so because there's no way that makes sense in any. I mean, again, I'm not trying to like hold your feet to the fire, but
you're telling me that because you and your fiance have an argument that was already stated outside of your presence, that was a verbal mutual argument, that simply because you go to jail for that and they want to arrest you, that when you get out you can no longer be engaged, that jail or that county policy of automatically placing a protective order on you nullifies your First Amendment right to be engaged?
So to answer your question,
please give me the case law for that, sir.
Well, I'm no attorney, so I couldn't give you the case law for anything. But in relation to like what I would do personally, I probably would be worried about like kind of exactly what happens to you, just getting these charges brought up. But I believe the actual argument you're trying to make is a little more nuanced than you have the First Amendment right to associate with whoever you want, but rather that because the initial charges of domestic violence weren't valid, they shouldn't be able to restrict your First Amendment rights to cohabitate with whomever you want because the initial charges were bogus. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think I can understand that. Almost that makes a lot more sense than what the argument kind of sounded on its face. Okay, so for the sake of playing devil's avocados and all this, I do think that there is a legitimate argument here for, at the very least, them, like, they're reaching. I mean, again,
Sir, and like we spoke online, or on, not online, but on like the initial
yeah,
couple emails that we sent after this witness intimidation case got brought up. Their charges of witness intimidation was that I called my girlfriend and told her that I need her to come to court and testify truthfully. In them audio recordings that they played in the court, in them audio recordings, all I said was, I need you to come to court, testify truthfully, because she was of the concept of if she didn't show up, that everything would be dismissed.
mm-hmm.
So I didn't want her. I didn't want it to drag out more. It would be easier if she just went in there and said, "Hey, this is what happened," and that was it.
But as we'll find out too, if she had done that, if she had not shown up, that's not at all what would have happened. They would have certainly tried to escalate this beyond what she even wants. So I do think you have pretty firm sounding in them kind of targeting you. I mean, as they admit at a certain point during this hearing that you didn't actually violate the bond. Like, you didn't actually, based on the evidence that was provided, like whether or not that actually happened, we're not really going to comment about, obviously. But based on the information that's presented in this hearing, you were found in the bushes. Like, they didn't have any evidence to suggest that you were actually there. As much as they might be able to infer that based on you constantly, to quote Fink, pushing and pushing and pushing, them saying that actually admits on the record that you did not violate. So then to take it one step further, that they're drudging up these witness intimidation charges the day before you're supposed to be let out on those, basically bogus charges, that feels like targeting to me.
Yes, that's 100%. That's kind of how I feel as well.
Nah, son, you're being quiet. Thoughts?
I've no thoughts about it, really.
Do you think that he's being targeted, or?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there must have been some more evidence under the hood for there being some sort of violence involved here, and and I get, and this is just my intuition speaking, like it must have been your fiance saying that you did something physical, because otherwise what you're saying is true. It's totally like ridiculous.
I agree. And that was never, like I said in the official police report, while she was questioned outside of my presence, she said it was a verbal argument of a mutual nature.
Yeah, well, we'll actually hear from her, and she'll confirm that. So that's not speculative at this point. We know that her standpoint from the beginning of this is that it was just an argument. So
what made them so convinced that there was violence involved?
That's what I'm curious about too.
I have no idea.
Did you go through all of the discovery from those charges?
Yes.
And there was nothing in there to suggest that there was actually a physical altercation?
No.
Huh. All right. Well, let's keep playing here.
That's really all I'm going to say today.
Okay. And I'll say this. You and I had a long conversation. We were very clear about what you were ordered and not ordered to do. Court orders.
Oh, okay. So I think your girlfriend's in the chat. She's saying, no, it was the family that was in the room with the kids. So that's Donnie Houghton. That's who we're talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay. So is what she's saying makes sense? It was family that was in the room with the kids. What does that mean?
Oh no, they was in the bedroom with her kids while we was in the room.
Oh, got you. Okay, so like her family is home while this argument is taking place, and they're inferring that there is physical violence going on, even though there's not. It's just you guys screaming at each other.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, that's making a little more sense. So whether it's, Donna's mom or aunt or whoever, right? Somebody's there and they're telling the police, "Oh my God, he hit her," even though you guys are both saying like, "No, that never happened, that never happened," and then you still somehow get arrested.
Yes.
Okay.
If whoever, I don't know what actually was said to the police other than what was in the police report.
Yeah. Well, we lost him. Yeah. Well, that's weird. All right. Well, let's keep playing here because this escalates. It's kind of wild how this just starts from what are effectively bogus charges, and I think we'll get into this. But even if you were to, which these charges will be dismissed, the domestic violence charges. So I do think there's validity to what you're saying. But regardless, these witness intimidation charges, they stand on their own. So despite the fact that you get basically like acquitted, for lack of a better word, of these domestic violence charges, it doesn't matter because you're still being charged with witness intimidation, which doesn't make sense because there'd be no witness if there was no crime. So ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh, so she's saying, and because I was mad, I went to walk in a different room and there was stuff behind the door and it swung back on me and my family said the mark was from him. So she did have marks on her?
I wasn't aware of that. I guess so.
Okay. Well, again, that makes a little more sense than just what it is presented to it on its face. Because again, like getting arrested on just somebody saying there was a physical altercation with both people involved are saying that it didn't happen. That one more. Okay, so they're saying they even took a picture of it. So was that not in your discovery or no?
The officers took a picture of it and blamed me for it. Even though she said that it wasn't me.
Okay, so there were marks. All right. Let's continue on here.
Pardon the expression, trump your right to associate freely until your court case is over. So you're not accused today of violating that court order because you already were accused of violating the court order. So this is where we are now.
I completely understand, ma'am, and I'm not trying to be argumentative towards the court, nor it seems a little suspicious to me that I have a court hearing tomorrow, which I'm going to be let out. I was supposed to be released based on invalid allegation, and now all of a sudden they're trying to throw whatever dirt they can towards me. So I understand.
Okay. This is a felony charge. I'm going to set a bond on this case because of the nature of the charge, as well as your status on the other things. In the bond at 5,000, 10%.
All right, I appreciate it, ma'am. Thank you.
Ms. McDuffie, did you want to say something? I'm familiar with Mr. Schchuh. I understand what your office is requesting.
Oh, yes, Your Honor. I just had a couple of notes from the APA who's handling this case, and it was pointed out that on this particular matter, apparently Mr. Schchuh has not appeared voluntarily. It's only been when he's in custody. However, I do have Mr. Schchuh on some unrelated sort of traffic cases in 2 other courtrooms, and I've always seen him appear, so that
that's not for this matter, though. Because
no, I understand.
We're in a new case.
Yes, I'm just saying that the notes in terms of his appearances, willingness to appear, ability to appear, etc., are just reflecting that, just in terms of flight risk, etc. So yeah. That was all.
The bigger flight risk, honestly, is his unwillingness to follow court orders. But I believe that Judge Freshour will deal with that. Okay, I'm setting this at 5,000, 10%.
Can I say
Sure.
one thing? I'm sorry, ma'am. I didn't mean to cut you off, and I completely apologize. I am filing, just so the prosecutor office know, and for the record can reflect, I will be filing a civil lawsuit based on malicious prosecution.
Okay.
So that'll be filed in the civil court within the next couple days.
Okay. I think we should not waive the timeframes, Miss Apple, because I don't.
So, dun dun dun. Like, might as well just like flop it on the table here. Did you end up filing charges against them, like you said, the civil, whatever it was, civil charges?
Yes, I did.
How did that go?
We haven't actually filed a civil lawsuit. I think I still have another year to do that. But I did file a couple complaints. The Michigan Civil Rights Office was investigating it. And I don't know what they did from there.
Okay, so as far as you know, they could still be investigating it.
That's possible, yes.
So at one point, you end up parting ways with your attorney, who will become a player here in these hearings moving forward, and we see kind of a new face take over, who kind of gets you off all this stuff. Is he the lawyer that is handling the civil litigation?
No, I don't have an attorney right now in the civil.
Okay.
That's kind of what I was trying to do, so I don't have to file it by myself yet again. That's pretty much where I'm at right now. I've been trying to contact attorneys.
Yeah, lawyers are expensive.
Yes.
Okay, so Donna's chiming in here again. It was definitely harassment, and I also felt intimidated by the courts more than him during all of the drama that transpired. Yeah, and honestly, that was I didn't notice that was kind of odd during all this, is it was really going against her wishes. And in fact, we'll hear her speak in a little bit, and Freshour more or less just completely casts aside her opinion on this. It's really odd.
The thing that I wanted to mention, and as I mentioned in the email, is like the collateral consequence. When they gave me the witness intimidation charge, and I wasn't playing when I said they was literally treating me like a prisoner at Guantanamo. I had no phone access, couldn't call my dad, couldn't call my attorney, I couldn't call nobody. They had me in the middle, like in the worst part of the jail, locked down, couldn't do nothing. The jail had me literally like for a year crawling around on the floor without being able to do anything.
And it's all because was what, they didn't have a wheelchair for you, or why were you
They
crawling on the floor?
The place in the jail, like the segregation unit, they didn't allow wheelchairs, and for them to keep me in the worst spot of the jail, they didn't want to give me a wheelchair.
Yeah, and it all stemmed from charges that got dismissed anyways. That is fucking weird to me, that like, because this will continue on and on and on. There'll be all kinds of more hearings that all stemmed from this initial bond violation that stemmed from domestic abuse allegations that get dismissed anyways. So I guess that's why what's his name, Connolly, refers to the pig pen cloud. You know, we were talking about earlier, where it's like this cloud surrounds you, because it's like all of this, you get caught up in the cloud and you just like can't get out of it. It's like the story we hear time and time again of people being in probation and then violating and then getting more time. It's like once they get into the system, they just can't get out.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. I ended up doing 9.5 years in prison for a simple probation violation stemming from Washtenaw County.
That's crazy.
That ultimately got dismissed by the chief judge in the U.S. federal court. That's why I said that when I told Schwartz when I flipped the table that the U.S. district court agreed with me after all that time.
What do you so I guess what do you mean by that?
Basically, I did 9.5 years in prison, 8 years of them 9.5 in maximum security for a simple probation violation. That got dismissed because the probation officer got caught in federal court lying. He gave me an affidavit admitting that I never violated. And I used that to basically get my sentence overturned.
Okay.
I sued him and his supervisors for unlawful imprisonment. And in his affidavit that the attorney general had him file, it stated blatantly that I never violated. So I'm sitting in prison in maximum security with an affidavit in my hand saying I didn't violate. So yet it took me another year and a half to go through the system to get out.
So in the subsequent hearings that we're going to watch here, you bring up time and time again how you sued the court system. That's the case that Burke was handling, correct?
Yes, he was a chief prosecutor at that time.
Is that what you're referring to, or is this something separate?
That was what I was referring to. There
Okay.
was, as of now, there's two lawsuits that went to the U.S. Supreme Court. There was a habeas corpus that, like I said, in 2012 got granted by the district federal court, letting me out. So there's 3 federal things that involved me.
So what happened with you suing the court system?
Basically, when after the probation officer got caught lying, in that lawsuit, they ended up giving the probation officer, Rodney Pollard, absolute immunity, meaning that he can lie willfully and I have no ramifications.
Hold on. Was it absolute immunity or qualified immunity?
Absolute. They gave him the same immunity as a judge. I did not agree with it. And that case is Schchuh versus Pollard.
Yeah, I looked. I did look up into some of the stuff you sent me, but it was so long, and a lot of it was hard to find. It's almost like reading another language. It's like, and if you're not a qualified or like experienced attorney, it's hard to make heads or tails of it.
Yeah, I agree. First, like I said, I had 7 years in maximum security to do nothing but read, and that's all I did.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here to a part of the clip that I found particularly fascinating.
Engagement. There's no. Basically, and I apologize. This is really all a waste of time. I've never.
You're not wasting my time. I'm working, so it's okay.
Yeah, I completely, like I said, it's not my personal opinion. All I've ever done or said to have done was asked to ask.
The sergeant's on my phone. I'm sorry, Mr. Schchuh.
Thank you. Seems like they're trying to pick up any type of dirt that they can possibly pick up to violate my civil rights. And I guess the federal court will have to deal with that. Yet again. Witness intimidation is
Washington County Jail
state and or county trying to intimidate the witness.
Wow.
So
With the sergeant.
Hang on one
seems
second.
like they're trying to violate my 14th Amendment standing to due process rights. However, this matter was supposed to be arraigned within 72 hours, yet they kept adjourning it. Seems like they're malicious prosecution of myself. But yet again, we'll let the Eastern District Federal Court, Detroit Court, deal with that. Abusive process, malicious prosecution, false arrest, false imprisonment,
Which is easier?
violation of no contact order, but yet I wasn't in violation of no contact order. Getting ready to let me go, and yet oh, I allegedly promised somebody a relationship, a 30-year-old woman that has kids, I promised a relationship. Makes no sense. Not that I,
Okay. I'm going to restrict phone numbers.
Okay, so what were you saying there, Jeremy?
Basically their whole basis of the witness intimidation charges was that I promised a relationship, which don't they say that the best things in life are free, which is love, non-tangible relationship?
No, so not in relation to what you're saying in the clip. You were physically talking just now, something about her talking to the sergeant, like when we were watching the clip. What were you saying?
No, I said that the judge left the bench to go talk to the sergeant from the Washtenaw County Jail. She said that the sergeant's on the phone. Didn't you hear
Yeah.
her?
Yeah.
That I'm sorry. That was this is the first time I ever seen that. And it's like she literally leaves the bench and goes like that. Ain't that ex parte communication blatantly?
I don't know about that, but this is why I brought this clip up, because it's honestly one of the best uses of court time I think I've ever fucking seen, and I've seen a lot of trial coverage. Like, they could show this in like law schools of how to like force testimony onto the record. And the craziest part about it is like the public defender, she's just sitting here completely fucking stone-faced. Like, it's a really brilliant tactic to wait for the judge to leave the bench and then just be like, I'm just gonna put my fucking whole spiel on the record. And you do. You go on to just basically give them your whole opinion of the case and like lambast the fucking. It's so fucking awesome. I watched this and was just fucking like it's completely unfiltered. Like, and this girl, is she like a trainee or something?
I would hope so. I know the last one that they put on the initial domestic was basically the prosecutor's office troubleshooter.
She just lets you go off. It's just, she might as well have like hold up a big sign that says fucking like "Go off, King." Like, doesn't try to challenge it or say like, "Hey, the judge isn't here. Maybe you should stop talking." There had to have been like the actual prosecutor. Like, I have to imagine like Blanche somewhere watching us back and being like shaking their fucking computer screen like, "You're letting him fucking testify! We're not even doing that today!" It's so ridiculous. Ugh. But I had to give you props on this when I watched this, because like I said, I have seen many fucking people who are representing themselves not make even nearly as much good use of what is just a rare moment of, I guess, lapse of judgment for the magistrate. Like, she just literally walks away. It's really fucking weird.
Yeah.
Well done. If nothing else, you should be saluted for your gusto, because where's your attorney in all this, by the way?
I don't think he was present at the time.
So odd. Okay, let's fast forward a little bit. We're gonna jump ahead to what's the most replayed thing right here?
Contacted and or communicated with the prosecutor's office
I don't know.
And informed them that what she intended to do, telling the truth in court. What she did not want was no contact order. So basically,
So I don't change that unless I get to speak to the person. Okay. And at this point, that's not, I have not heard that from anyone. So I'm not making any modifications to my orders.
I can.
Okay, yeah, you're not changing. We get it.
Versus Jeremy. Case number 2240180, State of Michigan versus Jeremy Scchuh. Mr. Scchuh, can you state your name?
Jeremy Scchuh.
You really think it's appropriate to try to talk to the victim while you're on Zoom?
She was talking to me. I didn't say
There's a
anything
no
to her.
contact order. Mr. Ellman, have you had an opportunity to speak with him, or do you need a breakout room with him?
I met with him yesterday, Your Honor. We spoke yesterday. I don't believe there's anything new we need to discuss unless.
So we're ready to proceed on the bond violation hearing?
Yes, Your Honor.
I kind of get the sense this judge does not like you very much. Have you had dealings with her?
No, not before this.
So this is the first time you're ever sitting before her.
Yes.
Probably wasn't the best idea to hand sign to your girlfriend, to be fair. I'm going to side with her a little bit on that one.
Yeah, I understand.
Whatever. It happened. It is what it is.
No, she basically said, I don't know if you've seen the beginning clip, she was saying, "I love you" in signs. And I did the same thing back.
Oh, okay. I don't think that was part of the feed there. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She also had, at that time, she had, I think she wrote it like in marker on her body. I love Jeremy, or I love you, or something.
Interesting.
May we approach briefly?
Sure. Can you put myself, Miss Willingbring, and Mr. Ellman into a breakout room?
Somebody's gonna have to withdraw.
We are back on the record in State of Michigan versus Jeremy Scchuh.
What did you say just there? Did you say somebody's going to have to withdraw?
Who?
Just there. Hang on. I couldn't really make that out.
Room.
Somebody's gonna have to withdraw. Yep.
Somebody's going to. What does that mean?
The fact that the judge was biased.
Oh, okay. So you're saying the judge is going to have to withdraw?
Yeah.
Based on what though? Like in what context?
I believe she was speaking to the prosecutor.
Oh, okay. So because they're having a sidebar, somebody's going to have to withdraw. Got it. Okay. Gotcha.
We are back on the record in State of Michigan versus Jeremy Scchuh. Mr. Scchuh, can you state your name?
Jeremy Scchuh, still here.
Okay. And Mr. Ellman, what are we doing today?
Your Honor, thank you for that bench conference, first of all. But as we discussed at bench, it's my understanding after meeting with Mr. Scchuh that he, I guess, does wish to admit to the added bond violation, which is the phone calls. However, not the original bond violation that he was previously picked up on the 18th.
Mr. Scchuh, can you raise your right hand? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Lower your hand to state and spell your name for the record.
Jeremy Scchuh, JEREMY SCHUH.
Sir, it's the court's understanding that you're going to be pleading guilty to this violation of bond. Do you understand that if you plead guilty or are found guilty of violating your bond, the court can revoke your bond and hold you in custody while this case is pending?
Yes, I do.
And is that still what you'd like to do today?
May I address the court prior to? Can I say?
Can put you into a breakout room with your attorney, but I'm here to take a plea, or you can talk to your attorney.
If you'd like to speak with me, Mr. Scchuh, we should do that now. I would advise you to only strictly answer the judge's questions in terms of your plea and not make.
So what were you trying to say there?
I honestly do not recall.
You don't recall? Okay.
Any additional statements. If there's something you'd like to say, I think we should get a breakout room and you should run it by me first.
Would you like to speak with,
yes.
Would you like the opportunity to speak to your attorney? Okay, if we could put Mr. Scchuh into a breakout room with Mr. Ellman, please.
Do you remember what you guys talk about in this little breakout room?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
I could probably give you a reference if you could give me show me the clip of when we came back. I might be able to recall.
We're going to watch that right now.
Back on the record in State of Michigan versus Jeremy Scchuh. Mr. Shu,
Appreciate
can you
it.
state your name again?
My name is Jeremy Scchuh.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Ullman.
Your Honor, it's my understanding that Mr. Shu still intends to admit to the bond violation as it relates to the phone calls today. Is that correct, Mr. Shu?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's try that again. Mr. Shu, can you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony?
Did that refresh your memory at all?
I believe it was about the whole witness intimidation charges.
Okay, so you just basically wanted to say your piece of it, that like, yes, I'm about to admit to this, but this is all bullshit. And he kind of pulls you aside and says, that's a bad idea. Is that more or less kind of what happened?
I don't. All right. The bond violation basically was for intimidation charge.
Yep.
Or hold up, hang on.
For the phone calls.
Yes.
Yeah, you get so many charges, it's hard to keep track. Yes, so right now, we haven't quite gotten to the part where the initial domestic violence charges have been dismissed. This is the hearing for whether or not you're going to be charged for calling her in jail.
Okay. All right.
So, but is that basically what you wanted to say there? Like, before you admit to this, you want to just basically say that this was all bullshit? Kind of what you're going to go towards?
No, I don't recall 100%.
Okay. Okay.
Tony, you're about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry to pause again so quickly. Is this woman, the APA Laura Willenbring, is she the one that was really spearheading the charges against you as far as for Donna?
Yes.
Why do you think it was she was so gung-ho about bringing these charges against you, like, as we'll see shortly here, against Donna's wishes? Like, what was it in particular that made her want to, like, really go after you?
I have no idea. I've never met her before. I've never dealt with her prior to this.
Because based on what Donna's even said in the chat today, they were, like, going against what she was asking for.
Yeah.
Really weird. I guess one would assume they just know better than her, I guess.
Lower your hand.
Or they had some other, like, something going on behind the scenes that nobody else was aware about.
Yeah, like maybe she's getting pressure from somewhere else to try to bring more charges against you, whether it's retaliatory because of the civil charges or whatever.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not privy to her conversations with bosses or sergeants.
Yeah, no, of course not. Of course not.
So I knew it was weird, and everybody else said it was weird.
It definitely looks weird. That's all I can say.
There's people that was in the county jail, officer wise, that ended up going to be state police officers and federal officials that pointed out that this has never happened. That is weird.
Okay.
State your name for the record, please.
Jeremy Scchuh.
Sir, it's the court's understanding that you're going to be pleading guilty to a bond violation. Do you understand that if you are found guilty or plead guilty to a violation of bond, the court can hold you in custody while this case is pending and revoke your bond? Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
And is that still what you'd like to do today?
Yes, it is.
What did you do that makes you think you're in violation of your bond?
While I was in jail, I called my fiance, spoke to her on the phone.
The court, and that was in violation.
And just to clarify, all you told her was to just come to court and tell the truth.
Yeah, and that was on the audios, and I ended up looking up when I was in the county jail that helping a witness access the court, even giving them reasonable like mileage or whatever, reasonable expensive, say you got to come from California, and I say, hey, I'll give you $200 to fly out here. Reasonable expenses is not witness intimidation. It is a defense to the charge.
Yeah, I think what they're saying, and again, I'm just playing devil's avocados. I'm not pushing one narrative or the other, but just what they're saying to paint this complete picture is that you were trying to offer the prospect of continuing a relationship with her in exchange for favorable testimony, which is ridiculous. I mean, you guys were already in a relationship. She sought to gain nothing by telling the truth.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Of your no contact order, is that correct?
Yes, I believe so.
The court will accept the violation of admission to the violation of bond. Mr. Elman or Miss Willingbring, is there anything anyone would like to say before I address bond?
I would, Your Honor. I do believe that the complaining witness is here, and I believe there's something she would like to say, and I think it may be relevant to the issue of bond.
Okay.
Your Honor, may I address the court prior to the
Yes.
victim? Your Honor, as you know, Mr. Schchuh had a no contact order with the complaining witness, in this case, Ms. Butin. At the time he was brought into custody on 6/23, between 6/23 and 6/27, he called her 15 times.
Whoa.
He was arraigned on new felony witness tampering charges on 6/27, and he was arrested.
Is that true? Did you call her 15 times?
I believe that's when she was putting money in the phone, and we was still communicating.
Okay. Were you trying to hide it at all? Like, were you? Because I think at one point they say you're like calling her mom, right?
Yes, I called Donna's mom, just because I wasn't like I said,
Yeah, I get it.
their simple order saying that I can't do this don't effectively stop our communication. Like if Donna wanted a relationship, she had the option to have a relationship or not. The fact that she wanted a relationship, I was giving it the same, I guess, importance.
Yeah. Despite the fact there is a protective order in place.
Yeah. And it was like I said, with her saying that, okay, yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna, I guess, fight through it.
Yeah.
That was pretty much, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna let somebody that's targeting me in my relationship.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt at that point.
So after Fink restricts your phone calls, because she doesn't just take away your phone privileges right away, it sounds like it does get there. Did you continue to try to communicate with her like through other people?
No, I couldn't talk to her at all.
Okay. So how did you, because didn't you say you ended up losing your phone rights altogether?
On this day, they took all my phone rights.
Oh, okay. But maybe we haven't gotten there yet. So they completely take away your telephone. So did they think that you were trying to call her like through other means or whatever?
No, I don't know. I don't know what their reasoning was.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it was just easier than trying to guess all the phone numbers that you, yeah, I don't know. Okay.
Arraigned, no less than, I would say, 30 minutes after he was arraigned, told that he could not contact the victim. He again called her, referred to her as mom, but called her number. And at this point, their voices are recognizable to me, the officer involved, and the victim advocate. In calls with Miss Butin, he's also made concerning remarks about suing everyone involved, threats to the victim advocate about finding her information and sending the U.S. Marshals to her house.
Whoa, what? What is that about?
Suing them because of the fact that they was violating my rights.
Yeah, understood. But
that's what I meant by that. The U.S. Marshal is the ones that, under court procedure, is the ones that give the service of any civil complaint.
So why were you trying to get information about the victim rights advocate? That's kind of weird.
Because of the fact that they was the ones that was pressing Donna to do something. They, like she said, they was the ones that was kind of intimidating her. And it was like you need the address of any place to give service to. Meaning
Oh, okay, okay. I got you. So it's
like
not like you're.
if I sue Beefy, if I sue you, I need an address, a physical address to send service to.
Yeah, so it's not like you were trying to find out
No,
where she was so you could do harm to her or anything. You
no,
were just
no.
trying to, yeah, yeah.
I'm not a violent person. I've never like other than this domestic, I've never had any crimes of violence.
She knew what she was doing, worded it like that. Like even me, who's watched this, it sounded really bad at first, but that's not really the whole context of what it really was. That was, yeah, I don't know. That's like dirty pool. Good lawyering, I suppose, but now that like I've seen both sides of it, it doesn't. I don't know. That doesn't like put the best taste in my mouth that she did that.
Or honestly scary and inappropriate, also threats.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know. It, honestly, like, come on, man. So she knows at this point that you're just trying to get her address to try to serve her. It's not that you're. Yeah. So she's painting a picture like you're this monster trying to track this lady down, and
No,
yeah, that's.
To sue Your Honor, Mr. Schchuh has never showed up to court on his own volition, has only been there in custody. I think he has an exceedingly difficult time following the court's orders or taking them seriously. And given the new charges, I don't think contact is appropriate, even if Ms. Uten tells Your Honor today that she would like it. Defendant quite simply has no respect for this court or its orders. So I am asking that Your Honor revoke Mr. Schchuh's phone privileges other than phone calls to his attorney.
Oh yeah, right there. So we see your phone privileges.
Every call that he makes is either to Ms. Uten or to someone else in order to get a new number for her or in order to contact her through someone else. So I think a revocation of his phone privileges would be appropriate. And I also would ask that he remain in custody at this time. He has a PCC on the 7th. There is also a no contact order in place via those felony charges as well.
Thank you.
Your Honor, if I could respond to that briefly. I have had a chance to listen to the phone calls that were provided to me, and yes, Mr. Schchuh has had contact with the complaining witness. However, I don't believe, I guess personally, that those phone calls, they were not overtly threatening in any way. Yes, he did threaten to, I guess if you want to call it threaten, he threatened to sue members of the county, including the victim's advocate. He did ask for her address, but specifically in that phone call, he asked for her address so that he could serve her with a lawsuit. And so I don't know, at least in my opinion, Your Honor, I don't believe these to be as physically threatening or as troublesome as this will and bring. I would also state that under my understanding of these phone calls, the complaining witness states many times that she loves him, they are engaged. I believe that she wants that contact, and I think she's here today to tell you that as well. And it should be noted that he's been in custody on this since I believe June 18th and has, according to him, served a total of 31 days already in custody on this case.
I am, Mr. Schchuh, is there an officer with you?
Yes, he's right here.
Okay, I'm happy to allow her back into the meeting. However, given your behavior when she was on.
I won't say nothing.
No, I'm going to ask the officer to turn off your video at this time because I don't want you mouthing words to her or kissy faces or anything other that's clearly also in violation of your bond, since I made it very clear that you're not to have any contact with her. So I'm going to ask the officer to turn off your video and I will allow her in at that point.
So I'm not allowed to see what is said.
You'll be able to see, she won't see you, so she won't see you making any faces or gestures at you.
That's fine, man. That's all I wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Ma'am, can you state your name? You'll have to unmute yourself.
Yes, my name is Donna Uten.
Good morning, ma'am. It's my understanding that you wanted to say something in regards to Mr. Schuh's bond.
Yes, I did. I don't understand how this all got blown crazy out of proportion. It was a verbal argument, and I honestly started the argument. This is all exceeding anything that I would ever want in my life. Like, I love Jeremy to pieces, and I plan on having a home with him and a relationship and building our family. My kids miss him dearly, and this is all like been a hardship on our family, and it's not worth anything that's happening right now for us to be away from him. We feel like our hearts are teared apart, and our home is torn apart all over an argument. We're both trying to figure out our mental health. If we could be subjected, having to do therapy or something like that would work. But
What's going through your mind, Jeremy? You're looking really emotional as you're watching this. Walk me through what you're feeling right now.
Just hearing them words, like, bring it all back. It hurts.
Can you elaborate on that? The separation from her, just like describe for me what you're feeling.
Yeah, the pain, the fact that, like she said, it was just an argument. The fact that, like, I was in jail for months.
Yeah.
She was out. She didn't. Yeah.
I think that's one facet that they don't really get to see so much, because by the time a lot of these defendants get into jail, they've been sitting in a room and they've met with their lawyers, and they really don't see the actual impact that a lot of these decisions and this stuff is actually having on the people they're making these decisions for. And, as we'll see, this hearing doesn't exactly go in you guys' favor, and you guys were kept apart even longer. Did you have like a really good relationship with their kids, it sounds like, too?
Yeah.
So they were kind of like losing their dad and all this as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough to see this. I can't see how any judge in good faith would hear that and still try to vie to keep you two apart. As much as I think there are certain aspects of this you do bring upon yourself, it's hard to see all this and not feel the emotion of it, and not feel like there's
The funny thing, and this is one thing that I understand, that it possibly is going out on a limb, but during this time, I was the one that was help providing for the household. She was going through a foreclosure on her grandma's property in Washington County. Once I got taken out of the household, she no longer had income to pay for. So they ultimately ended up foreclosing on her grandmother's property.
Oh, wow.
Simply because her grandmother was in a nursing home. Ironically enough, the real estate agent that was involved in the property dispute was an ex-Washtenaw County detective, John Scarfassi. He was the detective that was involved in arresting my dad and my little brother in 2012.
Man, you've been a bit player in this this justice system for so long. It's like you've just kind of left your mark on all of these people, and it's not far removed to say that you might have incidentally made enemies along the way, and whether or not those enemies are wielding their power, it's difficult to say. We're only given a limited information from these clips, and that's why I really wanted to give you the avenue to speak on this stuff, because as I said, it's one thing to watch a court case and kind of laugh and joke about it, but like the very real effects that it made on both your guys' life, I think is kind of what gets lost in all these stories. As much as this woman here, this AP Willenbrang or whatever, and the victim's right advocate might have thought they were doing good by keeping you two apart and bringing all these charges against you, it's clear by what you're telling us, it did nothing but the opposite. And even through her being in court and telling the judge to her face that this is actively fucking up both of our lives, they still, I don't know, man. It's really odd.
Yeah.
Well, let's continue to hear what Donna has to say about this, and then we'll hear from the judge.
This isn't right. And I've had my wishes taken away by the advocates because they kept telling me that I didn't have to show up and that it was okay and all of this, that they would take care of it. And nothing's been taken care of. They all went against what I wanted.
Thank you for that, Miss Eaton. Is there anything further, Mr. Ellman?
Your Honor, just briefly, I believe, and correct me, Ms. Willenbrang, if I'm wrong, but Mr. Schchuh does have a bond in the felony matter that if he was able to make bond, he would be released on tether. And I would just put that in front of Your Honor as an option if you, for some reason, still didn't want him to have contact with the complaining witness. However, I would ask that you would adjust his bond to no non-consensual contact at this time.
Anything further from the people?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. First, thank you, Miss Eaton, for coming here and speaking to me about the situation. I can't speak, I don't want to speak on behalf of the victims' advocates, but I will say that they have been in court, and I think that ultimately what happens in these cases is I'm the one who makes the final decision. So it's, I know from working with these advocates in the past that they do their best to represent you as best as they can. And I hope that you will continue to work with them, because I do think they have your best interest. And really, I take what they say to seriously and certainly take into account whenever I'm making a decision. But ultimately that decision is mine. And so I hope you don't hold them at fault for anything, any decisions that I have. They are really a helpful resource and might help be able to guide you to other resources that you're looking for. As far as Mr. Schchuh's bond, there's a few things that are concerning in this case. Certainly the fact that I have very clearly stated what the bond conditions were and what the expectations were. Mr. Schchuh, whether he agreed with the bond conditions doesn't really matter. And frankly, these decisions that I make, I don't ever make them lightly. I appreciate that people have varying circumstances that and relationships can be complicated. Ultimately, my concern is certainly safety for you, Miss Eaton, in this case, and public safety. And when these conditions are set out, that's what they're intended to do. Since the beginning of this case, Mr. Schchuh has repeatedly not respected a single order that I have given regarding contact. Today, Mr. Schchuh pled guilty to the bond violation of having contact with the victim in this case directly against my order. Additionally, the context of those phone calls and that contact resulted in additional felony charges. He was again ordered to not contact, and he just doesn't seem to care or respect what the court has asked him to stop doing. I appreciate that Missy and you would like to have contact with him. It is not just my order now. Now he has an order in the felony matter that there's also to be no contact. I am going to continue that no contact order.
Wow, it's really weird watching this. Like, why?
Yeah. That's the thing. I always wondered that. Why? And like I said, I don't know whose plan it was or whatever was said.
Like, the victim is literally waving in the camera like, don't do that, and she's still just because it's one thing to book you on intimidation charges, that's one thing, but to insist so fervently that you guys be kept apart is really strange. Because I'm sure you guys communicated that you were having these issues. It wasn't just necessarily that you guys wanted to see each other. Like, there were very real logistical issues that being kept apart were affecting. So it just, rewatching this back, especially with the context that we have now, I struggle to see the judge's logic. You know, we're not privy to all the details, but it's again, I struggle to see the logic here.
I don't know. I'll just say that there's always the possibility that maybe that she got a phone call or something before the hearing. Maybe somebody said, "Hey, we don't like this guy. Make sure he stays in jail." I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and I'm not one to really jump on to like the conspiracy theory bandwagon. And honestly, I thought I was going to be more skeptical than I was going into this, but just like rewatching all this back, man, it's. I mean,
if you put, like I said, you put back into play the fact that I did 9 years in prison for something I didn't do.
Yeah,
that was like the first step. I went to prison.
It's almost like that Making a Murderer story. You know what I mean? It's like you want to believe that everybody's up on the straight. I don't know if you've ever seen it. That might be a reference that goes over your head, but
I've never seen it, but I understand that the concept.
You know, you want to believe that people in these positions, like public defenders, police, judges, that they're all just operating in the best of faith with the best of intentions. But I mean, there are proven cases of police corruption and malicious prosecution, like police targeting. People do this, so it's not exactly not within the realm of possibility that wasn't going on here. I'm not saying it was or wasn't, but
the inconsistencies, like I've always said, one of my philosophies is, if you don't know, if stuff is not looking right, and 9 times out of 10 that there's facts you're not aware of.
I will say, again, just for the sake of playing devil's avocados, that a lot of these charges, they did stem from some poor decisions. Not to say on your half.
No, I don't disagree with that. I completely agree that yes, they did.
But at the same time, it feels very heavy-handed to me. Like they're going out of their way. You know what I mean? Like it's very strange. Like it's one thing to have a vested interest in like a murder case or a big case or something like that, but like this is all stemming from.
I'll give you another main inconsistency that just occurred. When I was in the Washtenaw County Jail for charges that came after this case that we're talking about right now, they gave me in discovery the sergeant of the Washtenaw County Jail and alleged victim for assault case. They gave me the discovery that gave me his whole address, social security number, phone number, driver's license number, wife's name, everything. I ended up realizing that I had that in my discovery information that my attorney gave me, told my attorney, "Hey, am I supposed to have this? Oh, just hang on to it and put it aside." I said, "No, I don't want this."
I don't feel comfortable with this. Yeah.
After we left speaking to the attorney, I told the sergeant that escorted me down of the Washtenaw County Jail. I asked him to turn his video or his body camera on and read him the information and asked him on camera, "Am I supposed to have this?" He said, "No, you are not." I said, "Did you know I had this?" He said, "No, I did not." I said, "Here you go. I do not want this." I tried to get back to my attorney. I don't want no part of that.
Sorry, whose information was it again?
It was a sergeant of the Washtenaw County Jail.
Weird. Why would they give you that? And it was in your discovery?
Yes.
Was he a witness in the case or something?
Yes, he was the victim.
Oh, okay.
He was the victim. He was the victim in the case.
And you had all of his info. Yeah, that's really weird. You figure that's like the last thing they'd want to give.
And on top of that, it was basically like he was fumbling. I got mad in the county jail after that hearing with Fresh Hour and barricaded myself in an office. During them getting into the office, the sergeant allegedly got hurt.
Right after this?
Yes, because of the fact that they basically said, "Screw me and my fiance's rights."
Mm-hmm.
I ended up breaking down and barricading myself in the office.
Oh yeah, so we skipped that actually. Yeah, let's because you guys both kind of freak out. So let me pull that up because you kind of give Fresh Hour what for, and it's actually a pretty iconic moment where you're telling her to recuse herself and all that. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm gonna cue that up, but walk us through what it was like firsthand getting this decision, and then like you're talking about locking yourself in the office. Could you just like give us a beat for beat of how that went?
Basically, there was when I was doing court, the court was on a little computer screen. So once court went over, I kind of put my legs up and barricaded myself in the when I say office, it was like a secure interview room. So I couldn't have went nowhere. It wasn't like I was trying to escape. I just didn't want to be messed with at that time. I felt like I was unsafe to have them around me. It was basically one of them. I just want to be left alone because they kind of just said, "Screw me." In that process, of them coming in the room, the sergeant got like pushed in the door and ended up hurting one of his ribs, and they blamed it on me.
Yeah, that becomes another charge in all this. Actually, that was in my video. That was one of the connecting bits. As we went through the hearings, we started off with just the one domestic violence charge, and as we went hearing to hearing, I kept track of what all your charges were, and it's really wild to see. Just hearing to hearing, watching this rap sheet just get longer and longer and longer, really with you just trying to navigate the criminal justice system. And again, you'll be the first to admit probably not making the best decisions along the way in that regard.
Yes, I agree. I'm not a saint. I'm not perfect. I have flaws.
I think Simpson called you a hothead. I would tend to agree.
I would say, as far as when I'm right, I'm going to stand up for myself, and I don't care who is against me.
Yeah, and that even tracks to the flipping of the table clip we saw earlier, where it's like you're telling a judge you're a better lawyer than him. It's like you just felt disrespected, and you don't give a shit who it is. You're gonna tell him what for.
Like I said, if I'm right, I'm gonna prove my.
Fair enough, man. Honestly, I envy that. I wish I had that I'm like one to just kind of shrink down.
I guess, like I said, when you, and this is one of the things I've always said, because of the fact that I did so long in prison, in the worst prisons in Michigan.
Yeah.
Kind of like there was a concept that I heard recently about a light that's forged in the darkness. Like, because of that, I'm starting to realize a lot.
Yeah. Well, let's just watch your you guys' reaction to this, and then I have another clip I want to check out, and then we're probably gonna wrap it up here.
Dexter to the Dexter Pinckney Road address.
I would like for the judge to, I would like for a different.
I am
No.
appealing this order. I will be filing.
This
And you can see that I'm just like constantly muting you. And it's, some of my favorite court moments are when like the mute button doesn't work and you get to we get to see this. It's definitely one of the funnier interactions I've ever seen. Is you constantly are hitting. All right, so is that what's happening though? Like you're unmuting yourself so you can kind of tell her off some more. So what do you just like? What is it? Is it like a touch screen or a computer?
Yeah, it was like a little screen that they didn't realize that that I was in that office by myself.
So what? The officer that's here, he jumps in when you start kind of mouthing off to her.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're just like spamming the unmute button so you can yell. So funny.
Mr. Schchuh, I want to make it very clear that if you are able to be released on that GPS tether, you will not be permitted to return to
just flip through the bird there.
in Dexter,
That's
Michigan.
great.
Do you understand that, Mr. Schchuh?
Entertaining to say the least.
I am appealing the judge's order. I believe the judge is biased. You should have disqualified yourself from the very, very beginning.
I appreciate your.
I don't give a fuck what you say.
I apologize.
You got cut off there. I don't give a fuck what you say. What was the last part of that?
You fucking cunt.
Oh my god. Okay. Okay. Jesus. Oh, to a judge, man. That's yeah, hothead is definitely one way to say it. Oof. Wow, man.
Your Honor.
Any reason I shouldn't hold him in contempt and just keep him in court, in jail?
She didn't like that one.
Yeah,
Your Honor.
I think I probably would have held you in contempt. I think anybody with a definitely a good qualifier for that. Good candidate for a contempt charge, I think. Flipping her the bird and trying to call her the C word. It's actually in your favor that it cut out there at the end there, because he probably would have gotten that contempt charge.
I actually think that she heard that because that cutting out part, she acted completely different after that.
Oh, okay. Well, either way, I mean, you told her to fuck off, basically, so.
Yeah, it was, like I said, was that the best idea? Did I intend to do that when we went into that hearing? No, I didn't. But it was, like I said, the whole thing with the same thing with the flipping the table. It was like I felt I was being screwed over, and I couldn't do nothing else at that point.
So that little room with the cop in it, how did you end up that's the room you barricaded yourself into afterwards?
Yeah, because they walked out.
After that, they walked? That's really odd. I guess maybe they were just hoping you'd cool off.
Yeah, and I ended up cooling off, but pretty much the same thing as when they was playing Donna's testimony. It was like I broke down.
Yeah.
I couldn't deal with it no more.
Ugh, heavy stuff.
Given his relationship with the complaining witness, this is a very emotional time for him, and
oh, hi, Gary.
I hope that outburst was accidental given his emotional state.
This matter is.
Oh, yeah. So Stevie is saying that Judge Darrow and Fresh Hour would clean up on OnlyFans. Yeah, I mean, despite the fact that she's not the nicest person, she is gorgeous, man.
set for final settlement conference on August 9th, 2022 at 1 p.m.
Some nice covering up by your attorney. He
Matter
said
is-
it was accidental.
Given this was,
Accidental.
um,
He's not doing a terrible job by you at this point. What did you think about this guy?
I always thought that he was fucking Fresh Hour's puppet.
Oh, okay.
I always got that feeling with him.
Well, he's kind of going against her here. I mean, he didn't do a terrible job for you in this one.
No, you're right. The thing is with him, and this is like after this is when the prosecutor's office filed a motion nolo prosecutor, basically cannot prosecute, and it took them from the time that the case was dismissed to notify me of the dismissal, like 2.5 weeks of me being in jail. Like my phone should have been shut on 2.5 weeks before I was even notified that the case was dismissed.
Let's see. Do you even come back here? What's this last one? Oh, we got Blanche in the house.
Honor, I see we're still listed as the attorney of record here. We previously moved from another matter he had. Mr.
What's this one? Do you remember with you and Simpson and now Blanche is involved?
No, nope. I'll give you feedback once you play it further.
Schuh has previously and so we've been unable to represent Mr. Schuh going forward. That's one of the standing policies in our office based on the lawsuit. So we would move to withdraw in this case.
Can somebody get me an attorney then? Mr. Schuh, is this the only case holding you?
Yeah, no, actually, sir, it is not. I have a domestic violence that was in front of Judge Freshour, that I have a $10,000 cash bond. It is my first domestic. I've done over 30 days on that case.
Well, it sounds like you're about to get dismissed. Well, at any rate, there was another clip that I wanted to ask you about. Let me pull this up here. And it's when you're in with Connolly, because that's kind of, he becomes like the common judge for all this stuff. And I'm assuming that's for not only the remaining domestic violence charges, but also this assault charge against the sergeant. Is that correct, Connolly?
Yes.
Okay. And that's when you end up going to, they try to get, Blanche makes this deal with you basically where you're going to go to mental health as opposed to doing more time in jail, right?
Yes. When I went to that facility, the facility was not accommodating for a wheelchair or a walker at that time. So I couldn't even get out of the car. So it was basically, I got the feeling like it was a setup from the start on the whole mental health facility or drug treatment.
Yeah. Connolly even he says something about that right in this, right? Like well, if this all doesn't work out, then we'll have to revisit it or something like that, right? Like I'm trying to remember what the exact verbiages are, but I know you kind of throw that back at him and he's like, I'm not even entertaining that or something, right? Like what were the details? Do you remember?
Basically, if for some reason they're not accommodating for mental health or not mental health, but physical disability, what could happen? And it was, I believe he said to notify them as soon as possible. Like say I go there and
That's right. He puts a caveat onto that though, that like if a bunch of stuff happens from that's going to be a different conversation, and it did kind of escalate into kind of an issue, right?
Yeah, it did. I couldn't even get out of the van because the facility wasn't accommodating. They didn't want to give me a walker.
So did they end up bringing extra charges against you because of what happened at the mental health facility?
Another probation violation.
For what?
For not getting out of the van to be brought to be helped into a facility that wasn't accommodating for physical disability.
Oh, so so they did want to help you, or
No, when they sent me to the place in Saginaw, I asked them, did they have a walker or wheelchair? Because when I went out to the van from the jail, I was in a wheelchair. When I got into the van, and then when I get to the facility and I go to get out of the van, I no longer have a wheelchair, or they didn't want to give me a walker or nothing. So
yeah, and you can walk, but you can only walk so far.
Yeah, the only like I said, I was having seizures, and my left side was messed up.
Yep.
I didn't really have. I've been doing my physical therapy myself for the most part. And like after a seizure, I believe that I'm impaired for like a month and a half.
Okay. Well, let's check out this clip really quick, and then I'll have some questions for you.
Yes, sir.
It's back in session.
Okay. We are back on the record. People versus Jeremy Scchuh, case number 18855FH, 19378FH. Record should reflect a bench conference with counsel and probation to talk about possibilities and dismissal of counts in the violation of probation allegations. In that discussion, we talked about what our different perspectives and options are. Both counsel as well as probation were very clear about that. So I think what we're going to do is have Mr. Collis, do you want to highlight for me what's in your motion? I'll have Ms. Blanche response. I've had a chance to review it. I'll rule on the motion, and then we'll proceed with what's next. Okay?
All right. Thank you very much, Your Honor. Your Honor, as I indicated in my motion, it's our position that any probation violation should have to be resolved during the probationary term. Probation in this case would have ended on July 6, 2022. A number of the violations, especially the ones that probation now seeks to add, were after that time and date. And we believe the Vanderpool case supports that proposition, that those violations of probations had to be resolved within the term of probation. Now, I appreciate.
So this guy, you weren't a big fan of him, right? This Collis guy?
No, sir.
You guys kind of butted heads a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you kind of put him through the ringer a little bit. Do you have any insight you can give us as to what your dealings with Collis were like?
Unprofessional. Like he already had his mind made up. He told me that I was going to prison, and that was all there was to it.
Huh. Well, I mean, he's an attorney. I guess that's not the end all be all, but I don't know. I guess my question for you would be, given he's been through law school, all that, and he does this every day, that if he's telling you that it's like not, there isn't a lot of hope and these are what your options are, you didn't put a lot of weight into his opinion in that regard. You just kind of said, you're stupid, or like, walk me through what that looked like.
Pretty much, it was just like again, during this case, like the process, there was so many inconsistencies where I had ultimately had the feeling like they was attacking me. And I'm at that point, I'm not buying into any attorney that they want to give me that's paid for by them.
Yeah, because you do end up firing him and getting like a private attorney, right?
Yeah.
How did you afford that?
I didn't. It was another pro bono attorney.
Oh, okay. Wow. Because typically, if you fire your public defender, they don't give you another one. So how were you able to swing that?
Because of the fact that there was a conflict. Like me and the guy kept butting heads.
Yeah.
It was like I said, it was like he already had his mind made up of what was going to happen and what the outcome was going to be. And the facts of the case didn't matter.
at one point, you and this guy, you go to like reset another date, and this guy has like a holiday or something like that, and because he can't make it work, you get stuck in jail for like another month. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Did you kind of regret it in that moment when the guy wasn't willing to like forego his vacation or his holidays to
Yeah, when they just basically allowed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, the narrative of so many inconsistencies. 1 + 1 + 1 = 3, no matter what you look at it.
I remember watching that in real time and thinking like, well, that's why you don't kind of piss off your lawyer. So, like I said, did you kind of in that moment like, fuck, I wish I had just worked stuff out with this guy because now I'm stuck in jail for another month.
Yeah, I did, but it was like when you know you haven't did nothing wrong, what do you do? What can you do?
That's so ridiculous. All right, let's check out the moment here that I think everybody watches. So let's check that out.
That's my job. I'm not sure what she'll do. She may not, but I could, and the prosecutor's office could ask to send you to prison. So I got to consider all these things. That's my job. I'm not taking it lightly. And I'm also not saying I will send you to prison, but you need to know that it's possible. So I don't know that you really should or want to plead guilty to these violations. I think you're entitled to a hearing on them. So
my thing, Your Honor, is I have been in jail, and may I speak? I'm sorry.
Sure.
Okay, my thing, Your Honor, is the court, or not the court, but I'm sorry, I apologize. The Miss Blanche's recommendation and Mrs. Blanche's argument for People versus Vanderpool is the same argument that the dissent in Vanderpool, the Michigan Supreme Court made. It's the same dissent that failed to get a majority vote in Vanderpool. She also argued, I read the motion, she also argued the Michigan Court of Appeals Vanderpool case that was actually overruled by the Michigan Supreme Court, which that argument failed as well. She's arguing the Michigan Court of Appeals case to overrule a Michigan Supreme Court case, which is a higher court, clearly. Your Honor, Mrs. Blanche was the same prosecutor that has retaliatorily and maliciously prosecuted me for a domestic violence and a witness intimidation case that she knew had no probable cause. Mrs. Blanche.
So, Mr. Schchuh, what we can do is this. Like, you just have to know, because I'm kind of in the same boat here. We're all trying to do our jobs. So when people throw out the term malicious prosecution or some sort of like retaliation, like I promise you, Ms. Blanche is not seeking to maliciously prosecute you.
So you're go ahead.
Go ahead. I was laughing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So your position in all this, you think that Blanche is out to get you? Because it kind of felt like watching all this that she was trying to kind of cut you a break. Like she was trying to get you into mental health, would seem like a mental health facility, which would have gotten you out of prison. It kind of seemed like it was win-win. So I guess my question for you would be, in what regard is she maliciously prosecuting you?
Because of the fact that at that point, she was pursuing the domestic and witness intimidation charges. That I don't remember what date of this hearing was, but it was they were ultimately dismissed.
Yeah, this is after. Oh no, I think this is before they actually come to the conclusion they're going to just send you to the mental health facility. We're going to watch that next.
Yeah.
Okay, so she hasn't really changed her tune in that regard yet, which is why you're like, she's maliciously. What was your opinion of her? Because we see her all over the place in Zoom court, just known as the Ice Queen.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well. My opinion of her was, again, there was some type of narrative. It was like her argument was literally, we're going to pursue probation violation charges because it's a lesser standard of proof that we had to prove in a domestic or witness intimidation case. But the very allegation of the domestic and witness intimidation
Yeah,
that
we're dismissed.
are going to form the basis of the probation violation.
Yeah, I thought that there was a law like fruit from the poison tree or something like
Yeah.
that, where
Yes. And the thing is what I was arguing about the Vanderpool case. Vanderpool states that on the day that your probation ends in Michigan, your probation terminates. They no longer have jurisdiction over you. However, they pursued probation violation charges after the jurisdiction ended.
yeah, so essentially they are bringing charges against you retroactively, even though your probation is over.
Yes.
And that's the argument that your attorney is making for you. Did he push back against that at all?
Yes, he did, because of the fact that I stood up. It was like, oh shit, he knows, so we're gonna have to kind of make it.
Okay, come on, man. I'm not gonna just stand idly. I don't think that Collis is in cahoots with anybody. I think he's just a public defender and he's doing the best he can. You really think that he's like in somebody's pocket?
I think that would be a very good possibility.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. It was like people were just jumping up out of the woodwork just to screw me over.
Yeah, it is odd to see how, because like even Blanche, she typically handles homicides. Like I very rarely see her in domestic violence court.
Like they purposely gave somebody that's a very hard-nosed trial attorney a simple case, a misdemeanor.
That's what I was getting at, is she's like pretty high up in the prosecutor's office, and she really wasn't involved until it really goes to Connolly's court. So how and why did she get?
No, she was involved. She was involved in the domestic case in Fresh Hours.
Oh, okay. So she was part of that.
Yeah.
Well, then why was the other girl we were talking about there? I
They
forget
kept
her name.
switching them. Laura or Varenbring or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, they kept switching them. Like in documents, have Blanche's name on it. Some of them have Laura's name on it.
Okay, so she might have just been busy and was intending on pursuing it from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that doesn't necessarily mean that there's corruption just because Blanche got involved. But it does seem very, like, this almost seems beneath her. The times that I've seen her in court, like I said, it's primarily, like, homicide, vicious assault, stuff like that. So for her to be wasting her time on, like, intimidation, like, this just seems like small potatoes.
Probation violation case that, like, because of the fact that they had to dismiss the other charges. Oh, literally in documents, it literally says we're pursuing violation charges because it's a lesser standard of proof.
All right, let's watch one more, and then I think we're gonna call it for the night. I believe you have another moment where you kind of give the court kind of what for here, and I want to get your take on it. So we'll watch this to its conclusion, and then we will call it a night here.
All right. What happened to Miss Uten?
Oh, she was just in the chat.
Oh, okay.
She, as far as I know, she could still be in here. She could not. Would you like me to have reach out to her or no?
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
Okay.
I just thought she was gonna give commentary on what we was speaking about. But it's all right.
Well, you had asked me not to, so I think she's respecting that. But if you're okay with it, I'd love to get her 2 cents in all this.
Yeah, that's no problem. Whatever you'd like to do.
Okay, yeah, if she's still in here, I will send her the link, and we'll take a look at this. And I'd love to hear her 2 cents in all this. Nelson, are you even still with us? Should I just take your icon? I don't know if he's having connectivity issues. I'm just gonna. He's not even contributing, so I'm gonna bump him out. Nelson, you here?
I don't know.
He must have left. Oh, she is in the chat. Okay, so I'm gonna send her a link, and she can hop in here. But we'll take a look at this while we get her set up.
All right, no problem. Yeah,
He continues.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it just seemed from the very start, and especially after I got the initial police report, it seemed like it was a steamroll. Like they kept bringing out their big guns for a simple misdemeanor.
Yeah, very odd. Very odd. Okay, I believe this is Actually, I don't know what this is, but this was on my playlist, so let's take a look at this, and I'm gonna get her in here.
To violate his probation. He has numerous new violations. He has numerous prior violations, and just because 2 cases got dismissed because the victim was uncooperative doesn't mean that people can't proceed on them for probation violation. I'm asking you to have him stay in custody based on his behavior and his continued behavior. If you want to release him to some mental health facility where he's inpatient and he's away from people, I'm fine with that. But he needs to stay in custody, Your Honor, based on everything that he's done.
Anything to add to that, Agent Benetti?
No, Your Honor, only just clarification that there are only 2 additional counts that have not been already placed on the record. I did email Mr. Collis this morning and copied your staff as well as Ms. Blanche and added just the prior violations for clarity purposes.
You sort of summarized it in the 2 new ones, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I counted them all. I got that. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So the 2 at the top are the only conditions that we're requesting, or I'm sorry, violations that we are requesting be added at this time. Those are still being looked at by the sheriff's office. It's my understanding that they are going to request new felony charges. So we would just ask for an adjournment in order to track that.
All right. Mr. Schue, you have your hand up. You wish to speak?
Yes, I do, sir. Sir, I would be willing, my uncles both have health issues. I would be willing to submit to a tether. I am no threat outside of the jail. I do not have no pending cases. The only thing that is holding me currently is this probation violation. My probation has been over since June 5th, 2022, sir. I almost completed probation. The only thing that violated my probation was the allegation of domestic. The allegation of domestic was dismissed. My fiance, I am currently under an order not to be in contact with my fiance. I cannot, I'm no threat in the jail. I will submit to a tether. I'll submit to community corrections. My mother needs me because of my uncles having health issues. My mother is 63 years old. She cannot take care of my uncles. My one uncle has severe cerebral palsy, lives in Wayne County. I would be happy to submit to a tether. I'll submit to community corrections, drug testing, whatever the court asks. I am no threat to anybody outside of the jail.
Oh, this is a question I have to ask you. So at one point, oh, did we lose you? You're there?
None of my crimes are violent. No crime I have been on probation for, no crime I've had in my history is violent. I would be willing to submit to whatever the court requests.
You there? Can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you. I'm sorry. I lost it for a second.
That's all right. So a question I want to ask you: during one of these hearings, you basically shaved all of your hair except for like the little like cowlick in the front. I can see you smiling. What was the deal with that? Did you have lice or something?
No, none of that. It was, I don't know. I did it with a razor, so I kind of ran out of razors.
That's fucking awesome. See, they just got too dull after a while and you couldn't finish?
Yep, pretty much.
Did you like the way it looked, or?
Not really.
Yeah. It definitely looked kind of odd. That's so funny. So you had to limit it. Yeah, because they'd only give you like one of those a week or something like that when you're in prison, right? Or jail.
Yep.
So you're just shaving your head and oh, that's great. Thank you for that.
Pursuant to the MCR subsection 3, I'm actually entitled to a PR bond. So that's,
okay.
that's really
so why is it that, because Squishy says the same thing that I'm about to ask you. How come your attorney isn't making this argument? Like he's just kind of standing by while you're what's going on here?
I don't know. I had no idea.
Yeah, I guess at a certain point, if like you have to take agency in your own case, but like if you presented this information to him, I don't understand. There must be some legal reasoning. Like one would believe, or at least want to believe that there's good reasoning as to why he's not presenting this.
I'm just gonna say this, man, and I've experienced this more and more and more. The more you want to deny we lived in a fucked up world, the more you're gonna get proved that we lived in a fucked up world.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
The problem is that while I appreciate everyone has family situations, sir, you know, and you're not guilty of any.
How are they doing, by the way? The uncle with cerebral palsy.
He's been having seizures off and on. He's still here. He's still happy.
Are you still involved in? Because you claim that you're a caretaker for him. Who's taking care of him now and while you were in jail?
Now, me and my cousin and Donna has been helping quite a bit. Me, my cousin, and my mom.
Wow, that's cool of you.
As of currently, right at this moment, my mom and my cousin, because I'm at my dad's house for his birthday.
Gotcha.
Of these violations yet because we haven't had a hearing yet. But I do get to look at the allegations and make a decision on bond based on that. And all of these allegations, or at least a fair number of them, do involve threats of physical violence. I know that this is not a conviction, but it's alleged that you said to a police officer, I should punch you in the face right now. I'm going to get you when I get out. It's alleged that you, I guess.
May I refute that, sir?
It doesn't matter. I'm not saying you're guilty of it, but the fact of the matter is.
Okay, so you were kind of silenced there. What were the context for you saying these things to a police officer?
It was right after I had a seizure, and they came in the room and basically just let it happen. Without getting medical attention. I came to disoriented, and it was like, whoa, what the fuck happened? Get away from me.
Okay, so you weren't even in the right mind, and yeah, I guess I could see that.
Their allegations.
So, would you consider yourself somewhat of like an unruly inmate?
Yeah, again, I'm gonna stand up for what I know is right. And I've always, like, one of my philosophies is always like God's law is higher than man's law. Sometimes they don't coincide.
Because there's a moment that I'm trying to find here in Conlon's court that's after one of these hearings, and he's meeting with another inmate in the jail, and the guy who runs this channel, Old Squishy Garter, and I swear me too, you can be heard in, I think it's you anyways, because it sounds just like you, and Conlon kind of suggests it is you, that you can be heard like absolutely freaking out in like another cell adjacent, and it's so loud you can hear it in his during his court proceedings. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh man, we got to find that so I can, because I've always wondered if it actually was you, because he basically says without saying that it's you, and he basically goes like, "Oh, of course it's him," or something like that. We'll find it before we wrap up here tonight, but I do want to put that mystery to bed, because we've all, us as YouTubers or whatever, have always wondered whether or not it actually was you.
And you're telling me you need to help your mom. Well, if you really need to help your mom, if you didn't say those things, then there's a huge conspiracy. But if you said something that could be construed as a threat, that's not helping your mom.
I had a seizure. Okay. I came to with the officer in my cell cleaning up water on the floor after I had a seizure when they did not call medical staff. I have a referral to neurology for my spinal issues. I still haven't seen neurology in 3 months, sir.
Well, we're going to go out 2 weeks, and maybe you'll be out on your motion. So I'm gonna remand you for the hearing 2 weeks from today. Mr. Collis is going to file a motion.
14 days already, sir.
Okay. Well,
okay, I found it finally. just because we were just talking about it. I hate to be jumping around so much, but I finally found the clip. So we're going to put to bed right now whether or not this is actually you. Just pull this up here 1 sec. Donna, if you're still in the chat, by the way, let me know if you're having issues, because we'd like to get you on here before we wrap up.
On the future to wrap this up in the shortest time frame possible. Okay, so I'll let him continue, but just listen to what he's saying, because it could work all out in your favor in the time frame that you're looking for. Okay.
All right. So what we're saying is you're going to enter your plea today on Sam's case. Then you're going to get sentenced on that file on the January 11th date the judge gave you. Assuming there are no new charges from the allegations that were just put on the record, you can do a plea on my probation violations on that same day. You're going to be sentenced on Sam's case and potentially be sentenced on that same day. And then all of your matters here in Washington County will be closed. And you can go to MDOC and serve your time. So do you understand? Okay.
Oh.
So are we good?
Yeah, I was just saying I just want to get focused on something, because all I'm doing is I'm on level 1 and I'm not doing nothing. I'm in max. So
Do you know who this is, by the way?
No, if he was in max dose, that would probably be with me.
Okay. Well, we should hear you in just a moment here. So pay close attention, because I want to know if it's you or not.
I just want to I want to do something. I told you that when I first got in here.
Right. But we're trying to get you out of here as soon as possible.
So I'm going to enter your plea of not guilty on the additional probation violation matters. We're going to adjourn the probation violation hearing to January 11th at 1:30 p.m.
Hey, Donna, just give us 1 second. We're just welcome, by the way. I'm just trying to confirm whether or not this is Jeremy, and then we'll get your whole 2 cents on this, and then we'll wrap up. So just bear with us 1 sec.
Mr. Feaster, you're welcome to stay on the hearing if you wanted to see the plea happen, but the next matter will be going ahead on the 22214 FH.
Thank you.
So,
Judge.
Mr. Alexander, would you raise your right hand to be sworn in, please?
Yeah,
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
most definitely.
My understanding of the agreement is that you are going to be pleading no contest to an added count 2 felonious assault. That's a 4-year felony, meaning you could be incarcerated by up to 4 years. There's a potential $2,000 fine, and that is what you are pleading no contest to. And at sentencing, count 1 would be dismissed, and that count 1 is assault with intent to do great. And do you on probation or? All right, and you're ready to go ahead, even though
Say it again.
you're in control, you're of sound mind, you can make this decision.
Yeah.
Is it your decision to make to plead no contest to this crime? All right, you heard me say a moment ago what the maximum penalties are. Did you understand those?
Yeah.
As it relates to felonious assault, added count 2, I've had a chance to today or yesterday, but I've had a chance to go over the police report to support the finding that make up the information for the no contest.
Man,
In
these things
particular,
drag so fucking
page
long.
4 that counts.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Your Honor.
Yes. Voluntarily and accurate that you're responsible 6/2020, and the court will do a pre-sentence. All right. So, Mr. Bernstein.
Yes, Your Honor.
11th at 1 other counsel.
Would the court want us there in person?
So I don't know what I'm not during the sentencing. They obviously already have the right for that, but we are going back in person. Yes.
So lawyers there, and then okay, it's this afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. See you.
All right.
That was a lot.
Fucking A.
You can contact probation is going to come out and interview you, Mr. Alexander. Mr. Bernstein, you can contact probation to coordinate to make sure that you have access to that interview, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Sentencing in this matter will be January 11th at 1:30 p.m. Anything further, counsel?
Yeah. Are we going, Your Honor, did I hear we're going back in person in January? Would the court want us there in person? Is that the idea? Should I?
In fact, so I don't know. What I'm not going to do is order that the jail transport all defendants. If they want to be present during the sentencing, they obviously already have the right for that. But we are going back in person. Yes.
So lawyers there, and then if we have in custody clients, they'll Zoom in, but you want us there no matter what.
Correct.
Okay. I will note that accordingly. Thank you, Your Honor, and thank you for your time and patience this afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. See you in January.
God bless you.
I'll come talk to you on David soon.
Alexander, are you currently on probation or parole? Because this guilty plea could affect that. I know the answer to this, but go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. And you're ready to go ahead, even though it may affect your probation.
Yes, Your Honor. Wait, I just blanked
Meaning,
out. Say it again.
you're in control. You're of sound mind. You can make this decision.
Yeah.
Is it your decision to make to plead no contest to this
Yes.
crime? All right. You heard me say a moment ago what the maximum penalties are. Did you understand those?
Yeah.
As it relates to felonious assault, added count 2, I've had a chance to review the police report that was submitted today, or I don't know if it was today or yesterday, but I've had a chance to go over the police report. I believe there is enough information in the report to support that, to support the finding that you are, that the allegations that make up the information for the complaint, that you in fact did do those without you admitting it and pleading no contest. In particular, page 4 of 7 of the police report, I believe, contains enough information for me to find that. Counsel, would you agree that there's enough information in the police report for me to make the finding that the defendant's answers support the elements?
Yes, Your Honor, say so.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Either are you aware of any promises, threats, or inducements other than those disclosed on the record?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Has the court complied with MCR 6.302?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
The court finds the
Prison. I'm trying to get up out of here.
Well, you can't go
Do my
anywhere
time and
until
make
you
sure.
Don't go anywhere until
What the fuck? Where
Y'all
is
trying to keep me in here.
Ben, new there. Do you knew that? So I am alleged that you're violating.
There it is. Okay, hang on. Jesus Christ, that took forever. Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
Finally found it. Okay, so listen close because we're about to hear it.
Can you hear us, Mr. Alexander?
Yeah. Man, shut the fuck up. God damn.
Hey, maybe you need to suck my motherfucking dick, you bastard.
Please.
Dude, that's you. No? Yes?
Yeah, probably.
Do you remember that? Do you remember freaking out in the cell and saying that?
I probably did. I wouldn't.
Do
doubt
you
it.
do you remember that at all or no?
No, I don't remember that exact incident.
Oh man. But I've always wondered whether that was you, if you'd remember that or not.
I don't remember that exact incident. I don't like there was a few of them where they had to run in the cell and stuff, trying to assault me. So
Yeah. We can see the judge's reaction here if you want to see. I think it's at the end.
God.
That was a lot.
That was a lot.
Oh, well, whatever. At any rate, we wasted enough time on that. It's probably you. Okay, anyway, sorry, guys. So, Donna, can you walk us through what your experience was like dealing with the victims advocate groups and just basically having your wishes totally kind of thrown to the side?
Yeah, I'll clean them.
Can you hear me, Donna? You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you hear what I asked or no?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So we're just going to wrap up, but we brought you on here because I wanted to know what your experience was dealing with the victim advocates group. And
Hold on a second. 1 second, because the video is still going on in the background. And I can't understand why.
Oh, okay.
Okay, am I there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
All right, yeah. All right, sorry about that. I was wondering why I could hear like 2 sets of voices. I was like, what the hell is going on?
No worries.
But
good.
What was your question?
So just walk us through what your experience was like dealing with the victim advocates group and having your rights basically kind of cast to the side.
Well, see,
or your
that's
wishes.
the thing,
rather.
like, because I denied them, you know, due process to talk to me and stuff, because I was like, what the hell are you guys talking about? Like, this is all like a misunderstanding. Y'all are being stupid. And nobody wanted to listen to me. And it's like, okay, well, I'm supposedly the victim. Wouldn't you think that what the hell comes out of my mouth would have ever, you know, been the truth? Considering I would recall all these, you know, events if they happened constantly.
So what did they say to you when you kind of, because I'm assuming you pushed back to them a little bit when they were like, well,
they kept sending me stuff in the mail, first of all, about Safe House and Safe Zone and all of that. And like, I kept calling them like, look, y'all are doing too much. I was like, there's probably a million other women out there that could really, really, really use your help.
Yeah, and they
I said
definitely
you're wasting
can.
all your resources on me and him when, yeah, he has prior history of dumb stuff or other things. Okay, but not of the violent nature as he had said in the initial. So it made no sense why they was trying to hang him up so hardcore. And it made
So
no sense why they wouldn't listen to the person that it supposedly happened to, first and foremost.
yeah, so what was your recollection of what actually happened that night? So you guys just basically get into like a verbal altercation, and then one of your family members calls the police, and
Pretty much. I'm a sensitive natured person, and just like little things excite me, little things piss me off. And that's just honesty.
She's on video.
I don't appreciate, you know, any form of, you know, raising voice or anything like that, because as soon as a voice gets raised, I take that defensively. And yes, that is definitely not a great thing. But it's also due to past circumstances in my life that didn't even inquire him. So
Come down here.
it just don't make a lot of sense of why they kept trying to just
Watching our kids.
railroad him for a simple argument, considering
You going over there?
the events was
Yeah, my house call.
I got mad over something superficial, like the Chinese place got my food wrong and we didn't check it before we left. So I was kind of mad. It was just something stupid. And he got mad at me for technically being ungrateful in general. And it was like, I didn't know how to respond other than being like, okay, I get it. Like, I know it's superficial, but, you know, it was just one of my personal, like, what do you call that? Quirks, I guess. It's just something that
like a pet peeve.
I'm trying to learn and get over.
Yeah.
So it's like it might not be a healthy habit, but it's something that is part of me that I'm learning to fix. And constantly, you know, telling me that it's not okay to either feel that way or not understanding where I'm coming from leads me to be misunderstood. And I hate feeling misunderstood
Yeah. And so just
because I am such a kind person. Like I don't like it.
just so we have kind of a consistent narrative here, your story is the same as Jeremy's, obviously. Not to say that, you know, anybody's lying, but just because the facts of the case were presented against the facts.
Oh, no. Okay. So I can start. I'm sorry. That's why I was hoping for individual questions, because I'm like trying to jump around in my head of what I, you know, need to confirm or, you know, deny. But the comment that I made in the comment section, all that, literally when the cops got there, right before they got there, which is kind of ironic, I would say, but I am a natural born klutz. I didn't know that my kids had piled their dirty clothes behind a door. I went to go walk into that room with my kids. I flung the door open. Well, inheritedly, with stuff behind a door, it swings back at you. It smacked me right in my eye, and I had like a little cut right here. And so when they got there, they initially thought, oh, well, yeah, definitely it's a domestic, blah, blah, blah. And that's what they ran with.
Uh-huh.
Just because everybody else was in the rooms and couldn't see it, and they just heard like the talking. And I won't say that, you know, people get mad. They do say things out of context, and they do say things out of meanness. And it's not that, it's just human nature sometimes, especially when you're that upset.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, emotional regulation could, you know, do both some good sometimes. But that's why I said something about in the court videos about, you know, mental health. And yes, it would be a good thing for therapy and all of that, because sometimes people just shouldn't be each other's therapist, because when you're trying to fully evolve with somebody, you can't see their point if they're always picking it at you and pointing it at you. Because yes, you understand, but it's like when they constantly say it, you're constantly thinking about it. So you're constantly wanting to do it, or it's constantly doing it out of not even thought, I guess. If that makes sense.
Yeah, well,
Because it's
I
always
think
in your head.
Your point of trying to use each other as mental therapy doesn't sound like the best. Neither of you are professionals, but I do
No,
just want
I
to
agree.
to clarify, just to kind of state once and for all, Jeremy has never been physically assaulted against you, correct?
No.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't understand why this all stemmed from what effectively came from an argument. I mean, you put in your police report that you guys were just basically yelling at each other, right?
Yes. Well, my yelling is very rambunctious because I'm a naturally loud person 99% of the time. And that's just me. I'm a bubbly person. I'm always upbeat. So my voice is naturally like rambunctious. So when I get mad, it's extra volume. Like you could probably hear me a couple neighborhoods over just from me
So
yelling in general.
was it family of yours that initially made the 911 call?
I'm pretty positive, but at the same time, I did have 2 close neighbors, one on each side.
Okay.
And so it's like kind of controversial on that end because I know my kid said something about one of my uncles did it, and then also the cops pulled over to my neighbor's house for a minute. So I don't know if it was a multitude of calls.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's why they responded so harshly.
Yep.
Is my intake on that because you know you get multiple calls to the same address. Usually, how are they going to respond? You know, bells ringing. You know, blazes up.
Yeah,
But
and then they get there and there's this cut on your face that essentially was from not even the same day, or
it was literally from like 15 minutes before they showed up. Not even like we was in the argument. I walked away from him so we would stop arguing type thing. You know.
I stayed in the other room, so I wasn't.
Yeah,
even-
he was in the living room. I went to go walk back to the hallway and go in the room. And that's when that happened. And as soon as it happened, like literally within 10, 15 minutes, the cops was at the door. So like like I said, it was all freaking crazy. Like it was just a circumstance of like, I don't know, extreme like incidentals because I was mad at and wanted to get away. So I'd done something stupid and flung a door open that I shouldn't have probably threw open that hard. I don't
wow,
know.
that's crazy. That one small event led to all this. Well, again, I think it speaks to just what could be malicious prosecutions, but also some bad decision-making decisions from
Exactly.
Jeremy. So it sucks that this all stemmed from really a non-issue. So I'm glad you came on just to clarify that because
you just had fun, Trey? Okay, hold on, baby.
all right. Well, thank you for coming on, Donna, and just saying your piece. Did you want to put anything else out there? Or are you good?
Unless he wants me to clarify anything else. I mean,
okay.
You're good.
All right, Donna.
Alrighty. Thank you.
All right, Jeremy. Well, we are going to wrap this up. Just really quick. What's going on with you today? How are things in your world nowadays?
I don't know, just trying to get by, man.
Yeah. So we did see the clip from like 3 or 4 months ago. What's the development from that case? Is that all clear and done now?
Yep, everything's over with. I'm not on probation. I'm not on parole. I don't have nothing holding me back. I don't have no kids. I'm actually thinking about Florida. I got some prospects down.
Oh, did you mute yourself? Are you there? We can't hear you all of a sudden.
Oh, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, I'm actually considering going down to Florida.
Yeah.
And doing some stuff. I've had job prospects down there for a few years.
Okay. But you're gonna stay on the straight and narrow, like no more making bad decisions or letting your emotions get the best of you.
Sir, no, sir. My full intent is probably to take the paralegal test or certification test, do what I need to do, and stop allowing frivolous stuff and people hold me back.
Yeah. I think that, taking your own advice and, that of Judge Simpson even would behoove you to, just take a step back in moments of frustration and let calmer heads prevail. I think that would suit you very well to not act out of spontaneity as much, because I think that's kind of where you go awry is impulse decisions, you know?
Yes, sir. And that's the whole point. It's like, I don't know, all this, I started looking at it like all this happened for a reason. Sometimes we make bad decisions. Sometimes good decisions turn into bad decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say we got free will, but I honestly think at some point it would be better not to have that free will, because it seems like that free will is just freedom to mess up, make bad decisions. Like I said, man, I'm just.
I could see why in your position it would feel that way. But again, I would urge you to just exercise caution moving forward, and not not use that free will so recklessly, I guess, because now that you've on the other side of it,
Yeah, no, sir. I feel obviously this stuff has happened for a reason, and like I didn't even know I liked reading law books or doing legal work until I went to prison for something I didn't do and had to find out.
Yeah.
I didn't have the money for the attorneys to file appeals and stuff, so I had to do that stuff myself. Obviously that's what I'm supposed to do.
Well, it's clear you're passionate about it. I mean, even just hearing you speak in court, it's obvious that you take this stuff seriously, and you know a lot about your own cases, and if that passion could extend to other people, and you're able to, like I said, keep your nose clean and put that nose into some law books, the world's your oyster, so to speak. I think you could do that if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's my whole thing, man. Is turning a bad decision into a good one.
Yeah.
I guess, like I said initially, the aspect of a light forged in the darkness. Fuck, I did years in segregation where I had nothing to do but read a law book. So, no, I hated this shit at the time. Obviously, it taught me something.
Yeah. Okay, man. Well, thanks so much for coming on today and watching this stuff. Gosh, we're almost going on 3 hours now. It went by really quick. But it was cool to hear your side of all this, and it's definitely interesting seeing someone else's perspective on all this Zoom court nonsense. Because, like I said, I think it's very easy to forget that these are people that aren't in the best days of their life, and I hope that you're able to put your best foot forward and turn this around and stand straight and narrow, man. I wish you all the best.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, man. I've been through way too much to, I guess, not do nothing with it now, from what all I've learned.
Yep.
I like the Shawn Mendes song. One of my favorite songs is "It Isn't in My Blood to Give Up. I'm gonna stand up and fight harder." So my intent, like I said, is to get my paralegal certificate and to go from there.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely not your past, man. You can do just because you've had some issues with stuff in the past does not mean you can't make a new man out of yourself. So I really hope you're able to make all these things happen, and like I said, stay on the straight and narrow. So good luck to you, my man.
No problem. Have a good night, man. Thanks.
You too. Thanks again. All right, everybody in the chat watching, whether retroactively or still here, thank you so much for popping in, and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. And yeah, we will catch you in the next stream. Bye, guys.